Yo, what up, yo? It's your boy Ian, representing our leader. So the day I motherfucking die, you heard. I want to clarify some things, you know what I'm saying? While my boy D was going through some trials and tribulations. We was out there grinding in the streets as far as me and drop bundles. I apologize if I'm talking a little low. It's because I'm at a facility right now. I don't know what the times is looking like as far as me being on the premises. But yeah, after me and D going through our differences as far as him going through a lot of trials and tribulations in Bay Bridge, Brooklyn, and me going through my struggle in the Bronx, New York. We pretty much ain't talked in months. I say like probably 3.5 months. I wind up leaving in January. Last time I seen him, he broke down on what took place, on the situation the robbers put him through when he got robbed out there in Bay Bridge, Brooklyn, you heard? So after that took place, he wound up moving to the Bronx somewhere with your boy Rich. And Rich kind of took care of him. After that, we had met. Me and D had met on 149th and Grand Concourse in the Bronx. He wanted me to meet with him. He didn't really want to talk too much on the telephone. But I wound up meeting up with that dude, and he was breaking down all the madness which took place in Bay Bridge, Brooklyn, where he got robbed. So after all of that madness took place, we talked it out on 149th Street and Grand Concourse Station. He explained to me how we got robbed, and pretty much after that particular day where he explained all of that, I lost contact with D. When I mean by D, I'm talking about Chaka Khan's son. I lost contact with that cat because one, he moved after he got robbed. He moved to the Bronx somewhere with Rich. Rich took him under his wing after he got robbed, so he just packed his shit up, called a cab, and went to your boy Rich's house. Two, my stepfather, he disconnected the telephone, and I didn't have no number on D. He always had my number, but my number was disconnected. So before my telephone number got disconnected at my stepfather's house, we met at a station, subway station, and he gave me the rundown on what took place. After all of that went down, I was pretty much running the streets with drop bundles and running more with him when we was in the Bronx as far as gambling, shooting dice, playing pool, and going through the hoods, you know, trying to get off some work that was on us. So when I couldn't get a hold of D anymore, I was, you know, pretty much upset because I didn't have no number on him. And that January of 1999, I wind up moving back to Cali with some family of mine because my money was starting to look tight. D had 3 numbers of mine. He had 2 telephone numbers I had in California. One of them was a number to a pager. The other one was a cousin of mine. He stayed in Venice, California. Y'all might know Venice is Venice Beach, California. He had one of those numbers, the direct line, and he had my stepfather telephone number out there in the Bronx, which was disconnected due to, you know, a lot of drama was going on out there in the Bronx. So he just felt like he wanted to disconnect the motherfucking phone. So that was that. A lot of peoples was involved back then, but I choose not to mention a lot of names due to I'm not ready to tell it, and I want to keep a lot of shit confidential. So a lot of that shit that I kept confidential is either inside my notebook or inside my laptop, because from January 1997 to January 1999, there was a lot of brothers involved as far as dealing with us, dealing with our circle, dealing with the movement, dealing with him in studios, dealing with him as far as picking up drugs, dealing with him as far as situations that took place before I went to jail. But I ain't ready to throw all those names out there yet. D, meanwhile, calls my cousin and leaves a voicemail on his telephone. So I can't even tell you if it was a telephone or a pager back then. It was so many years ago, but I want to say a telephone. He leaves me a message saying that he wanted to meet up, but I didn't get the message. I got the message probably like 2 days after, when my cousin called me and told me that D left a message at 2:30 in the morning saying that he needed to holler at me. I was somewhat shocked because I ain't talked to D in probably 3.5 months. So I was surprised he still had one of my numbers down in Cali. So he pretty much wanted to meet up with me. So we pretty much met up at a bar out there in Culver City somewhere. We met at a bar, and you know, we got to touch base on a lot of shit within those time periods. We ain't talk at all. So, you know, we was pretty much catching up on each other's lives about what's been going on in the street and all of that noise, you dig. But as far as me meeting up with D, he was just kind of a weird motherfucker, because he'll call me at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, like anywhere between 1 and 4 in the morning. He'd be on this vampire shit, so he'll be calling me, you know, trying to meet up with him or just trying to see what my plans were that next following day, within that day, so we could just, you know, pretty much meet up and talk it out, you heard? So, as far as me and him going through our trials and tribulations on 2 different ends of the world, he was going through some shit in Brooklyn, I was going through some shit in the Bronx. You know, we kind of like, you know, pretty much met up, spoke on some shit, and just pretty much, you know, pretty much, you know, talking, politicking, and conversating. He wanted me to meet him in Marina Del Rey, but at the time, you know, I couldn't do that. So instead of me meeting him in Marina Del Rey, California, we met up in Culver City. And from there, I met him at a bar in Culver City, and from there, you know, we went to an Indian restaurant down in Marina Del Rey. I wound up getting a ride through my ex-girlfriend to meet him at that particular bar in Culver City. But from there, you know, we pretty much hooked up and went to an Indian restaurant down in Marina Del Rey, California, you feel me? So D was pretty much laying low when he got back out here from New York. I don't know what particular date or particular month he came out here, but I don't fucking know if the nigga was on the run or if he was trying to make money somewhere illegally. But you know, D was just being D as far as doing D. Pause, and you know, getting his little living situated, his living situation situated properly out there in Cali. You dig? So when I met him at the that particular bar in Culver City, my ex-girlfriend wound up dropping me off. I met up with D. He came by, and you know, from there we went to this Indian restaurant, and from there we met up with some shorties that he knew because they had access to a whip. Because after my ex-girlfriend dropped me off in Culver City, we caught a cab to this Indian restaurant in Marina Del Rey, and from there he called some shorties to come pick him up. He called some shorties to pick us up because he knew some hoes nearby with a whip. So after, you know, he had shorties come through. One of them was a chick from Malaysia. I guess that's the one he was dealing with, and her friend was Mexican. So after me getting to know the Mexican chick real well, we hit it off, and from there we went back to a hotel he had already hooked up at the Ritz-Carlton in Marina Del Rey, California. So as time went on, you know, we wound up sleeping with both of those shorties. And the next day, you know, he made up some bullshit lie where he had to go through some and told him I was leaving as well. So they pretty much, you know, hopped in their car and got out of there, you dig? I guess after that second day with me staying over there, because me and D, we was like real close like that. We had a cool friendship, you know what I'm saying? We used to just always hang out, you know what I'm saying? Watch some crazy ass mobster movies, you know, smoke a lot of weed to them. And we'll be pretty much talking about, you know, businesses that should be established within the future. So this nigga D always was bringing up this particular person that he met when he just came out here from Cali, from New York. So when he came out here from New York, he bumped heads, pause, with this Spanish dude, and he always used to bring up his name. He went by Arturo Ochoa. That was that nigga name, Arturo Ochoa. Now Arturo, I guess he showed D the ins and out. You know, he showed him the ropes, in and out of the game, how to, you know, get busy with that white girl and get busy with all the knowledge that he needed to expect out the shit. So Arturo was pretty much an older Spanish cat. When I met the person, you know, he told me he lived in East LA, but he works out there in Culver City, California. Excuse me, y'all. Rodolfo was a Mexican dude that was mixed with Colombian, so he was a Spanish native that was mixed with Mexican and Colombian. And when he came to meet up with D at the hotel, at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, this was the fourth day after me staying with D at the hotel, after we wound up giving those bitches the boot. After the second day, we was out there at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, Marina Del Rey, California. So after that, he wound up, relocating. He's always talking about relocating to different spots because he hated just being at one spot for too long. So his thing was always bouncing around from, spot to spot, either, family members of his or girlfriends of his or, different people he knew in the hood. He was always, getting around. That was his style. So he always was talking about relocating while we was talking to Rodolfo. And after we was talking to Rodolfo, I got to, meet this fat Hispanic cat. And, we had a couple of drinks at the little bar that was nearby in the hotel lobby. So the Ritz-Carlton, it had like a little lounge. So we used to go over there, order a couple of drinks, talk a little bit, and go back to the room. We was, wanting to smoke some cigarettes. So we'll just have like a couple drinks or two. And from there we go, because when he called Rodolfo to come see him, Rodolfo was downstairs at the front desk because he wasn't familiar on what room to go to and where D was at. So D met him at the lounge over there by the lobby. So we just ordered a couple of drinks, talking, laughing, and we went upstairs to smoke some cigarettes. We threw on the movie Goodfellas, and from there, we was just talking, but D was always talking about this guy, he was always bragging about his name and, what type of connects he had and how this guy's style was as far as, moving as fast as he moves. So basically, after the females left, after Arturo left, he wanted to have a different view on going to a different hotel, so he wanted to call Chaka and put it on speakerphone and telling Chaka Khan to wire him some money through MoneyGram. So, it was kind of like going back and forth for like 10 minutes, but Chaka Khan, she wanted wiring $850 through MoneyGram. But he was a little hesitant because he was very impatient, very spoiled, so he didn't want to wait, a day or two, for the money to come. So I guess MoneyGram, I don't know how their schedules are set up, like after 7 or something like that, you gotta wait another 24 hours. It's just some crazy nonsense like that. So he was basically telling her, like, look, man, that's gonna take too long. So even though you send the money, it's gonna take a long time for me to retrieve the money. So just send the other half of the money on whatever you're gonna give me, deposit that into my account. I don't know what type of bank account, he had. I think at that time, it wasn't even Chase Bank. At that time, it was Washington Mutual. So Washington Mutual, he had his little account where anybody within the family, can deposit money into his account. And as soon as he touched that, the rest was history. So I know it was $850 through the MoneyGram, but I don't have no idea, or, I couldn't remember how much money that she was, loaning him and depositing into his bank account, but I know it was about 4 numbers or so, you heard? So, once again, we was pretty much at a hotel when we talked about relocating as far as D. I wanted to stay at the Ritz-Carlton anymore. So after, meeting Arturo for that 4th day, we kind of talked it out with him and we pretty much left. So he called a limo driver. He called a limo driver to take us to a hotel out there in Santa Monica, California. It was called Hotel Casa del Mar. It was like a Spanish name. Hotel Casa del Mar. It was called Casa del Mar, I believe so. So I guess, after Chaka Khan deposited the money into his account, he used whatever money was left that was inside his account, and he used that money to relocate. And pretty much when we got to the Hotel Casa del Mar, the rest was history. But yeah, I'm gonna relocate due to not knowing the scenery like that as far as where I'm at. But I'm gonna get back at y'all. Y'all can email your boy if y'all confused or a little lost at eddy.mirrors @AOL.com. Once again, that's eddy.mirrors @AOL.com. If you want that new raw footage, that new raw music, that new raw hip hop, and if you're a little confused about the real story and the real facts that I'm giving y'all, I wouldn't be afraid to spread that knowledge to the world. So y'all holler at me, you heard?